Okay, all right, if I get your attention, we'll get started. Welcome back to Social Psychology 150A. Today, we're going to resume our lecture on stereotypes, but quickly some administrative stuff at the top. This Thursday or Tuesday, there will be a quiz in the class, which will cover material since the exam and then reading material since the exam as well. So you want to be up for that. And it's not announced yet whether it'll be Thursday or Tuesday, so you'll need to be prepared for either day. That's sort of like a semi-pop quiz, you know? Like a heavily constrained, like maybe it's a pop quiz, but it's not. You don't know which day it is, but you do know it's Thursday or Tuesday. Hold on. Okay, all right. Second thing is the Pennebaker essay assignment. I was going to do the prompt for that last Thursday, but we didn't have time in lecture to get to it, so we'll do it today. Accordingly, we pushed back the deadline for the Pennebaker essay assignment to like next week, a week from today, Tuesday the 21st, and then there's a follow-up assignment, and that's been delayed to, is something wrong? Is somebody upset about this? Then the follow-up assignment's been pushed back to Tuesday the 28th. We received email complaints about this, but you should be clear, this has been delayed. The due date is pushed back 4 days, so this is a good thing, not a bad thing, or I would argue it's at worst a neutral thing. So I'll present the prompt for that, and those of you who are gasping and sighing here in the front row, I think you'll see that it's not that hard. Okay. So now let's talk about stereotypes. Where were we? Well, we were embarking on this amazing intellectual journey. All of you were extraordinarily excited, and you were having a great time. We were all learning a lot about social psychology. And substantively, we were learning about stereotypes. We were learning that they have negative as well as positive content. We talked about where they come from, both personal experience and from social sources like media or peers or parents. And we talked about some of the drawbacks of stereotypes, ways in which they can be wrong, ways in which they can be right. And then after all that, we began to talk about a little bit. We talked about some research related to stereotypes. We talked about 2 studies on stereotypes. One, which talks about the motivated nature of stereotyping. It's the case that when you're motivated to explain away, say, a bad grade you get in class or something like that, you're more likely to activate a negative stereotype that can help you come to grips with that negative experience. So, for example, if a female instructor gives you a bad grade in a class, you're more likely to activate a stereotype of female instructors are unqualified and incompetent. But you don't have that available stereotype to activate for men in this culture, so you don't do it for men even if they give you a bad grade. Or you do it less so. What movie is this from? That's exactly right. Okay. Study 2 that we talked about was a study called The Police Officer's Dilemma, where these researchers were motivated to try to understand why it is that African Americans are disproportionately the victims of accidental police shootings, or you might say accidental police shootings. And they had this theory that has to do with stereotypes, with automatic stereotype activation. And in particular, their idea was that police officers, in the course of their job, have to every day, or even every day, but very often, make split-second judgments of whether a target is threatening or not, much like the judgments you have to make in these video games where you're shooting either hostages or criminals or something like that. And so they said, well, we'll design a video game to test this idea. And in this video game, we'll present people with pictures of white and black targets who either are criminal or are not criminal, and then see if people screw up more often and indicate that they want to shoot an African American person who's innocent, and also if they maybe do that faster. If they maybe shoot African American targets faster than white targets. And the reasoning is that in that split second when you see the target, you're trying to figure out if they have a weapon or if they're maybe holding something else in their hand or something. One thing you rely on is automatic stereotype activations, assumptions that you make about the traits of the target based purely on, in this case, the color of their skin. And because part of the stereotype of African Americans is that they're threatening or hostile, for African American males at least, they're threatening and hostile. If you see an African American male, you'll think threatening and hostile, and you'll be more likely to guess very quickly that they are carrying a weapon. And they confirmed this in a series of studies showing that African Americans in this kind of video game setup were disproportionately victims of false positives, where people would falsely say, oh, they're an aggressor, they're a criminal, they're holding a gun, when in fact they weren't. And then one of the big criticisms of this research was, oh, well, they tested this idea that they had on undergraduates, who are nothing like the people who are actually on the street having to make this decision. People on the street having to make this decision, or these decisions, are trained to make decisions in exactly these kinds of scenarios, and so they can be very accurate. They're not going to make these kinds of mistakes. So you found just another demonstration of stereotype effects amongst undergraduates, but not one which applies to the phenomenon you're claiming to explain and study. So then they replicated this research using a sample of actual police officers. They did the study again, and they found the same findings, which is strong evidence that the original research did apply to police officers in the street making these sorts of decisions. Are there questions about this research? Or any of the last lecture? Okay, let's do. Okay, so stereotype research study 3. Here we're just sort of dancing through the meadow of stereotype research. We're just kind of gallivanting around, having a wonderful time. You can imagine us all just skipping and playing in the sun, reviewing research on stereotypes. And so this isn't particularly related to the last one. We're talking now about stereotype threat research, which is a very different phenomenon in some ways. So it's also based on non-consciously held stereotypes, generalizations you hold about people. They can often have a lot of negative content for socially stigmatized groups. So who here is familiar with stereotype threat research from earlier classes they've taken or something like that? Okay, so stereotype threat research is basically the following ideas. An idea espoused by Claude Steele, who's a psychology professor at, you guessed it, Stanford University. I know. And Claude Steele, again, triumphing over his professional background to do very good research, has this idea that people perform worse on tests when negative stereotypes that apply to them are made active in their minds. And the problem he's trying to explain here is why is it that there's a testing gap for women in math and science domains relative to men? Why is it that women tend to perform worse in certain math and science tests relative to men? And why is it that African Americans perform worse on, say, the SAT than whites in America, or same with Latinos? And his explanation is maybe it's the case that negative stereotypes about the members of these groups' performance on these tests become active and then somehow inhibit their performance on these tests. Now this should seem like a somewhat familiar idea because we reviewed some very similar research earlier in the semester. Can anybody identify what that research was? We talked about the bell curve, exactly. And we talked about some research that was responding to the bell curve. Lavalle et al. 1998, exactly. So Lavalle et al. 1998 had this idea that it's status, right? That if you're a low status group in some setting, then you're going to perform worse on a test, just as a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you're expected to perform worse, you do perform worse. That social expectations, the power of the situation, if you will, directs your actual performance. Well, Claude Steele has a very similar idea with stereotype threat research. He also thinks that if you have some kind of negative stigma that's made salient in some situation, you're reminded of social perceptions of you that are negative because you fall into some category, that yeah, you're going to perform worse. But I think stereotype threat research is maybe just a little bit more specific about how that works, and so we'll talk about the mechanisms that stereotype threat researchers have advanced for what's going on. What did you do? Okay, that's bad. This is terrific. Okay, so Claus Steele had this idea that if African Americans were made aware of their race prior to taking a test, it would lead to worse performance. But this would not be the case for whites or Asian Americans. And he had the same idea for women taking math tests. There's this negative stereotype about women's performance in math and science domains. If that's made salient, then women will perform worse on a math test or a science test than they would otherwise, even controlling for their actual abilities in the area. So again, Lavalle says this is a self-fulfilling prophecy where low expectations lead to low achievement. And Steele wants to push this a little bit further and sort of say, well, okay, self-fulfilling prophecy, but let's really get into the nitty-gritty here and explain this. Perhaps it's the case that negative stereotypes become active in your mind in a testing situation, and the reason that they impede performance is because they reduce working memory capacity. And working memory capacity is basically your ability to focus attention on some task while keeping other thoughts at bay or at a minimum. So it's essentially your ability to focus, right? And if you've ever taken the SAT or the GRE or one of these standardized tests in a situation where you're bothered by other thoughts, other things are on your mind, distractors in your testing environment, or what have you, you know that if you are trying to hold other thoughts at bay in a testing situation, it can hurt your performance, or it feels like it's going to hurt your performance, right? When you're bothered by some sort of issues in your personal life, or the person next to you usually distracting, what have you, you're going to probably perform worse on that standardized test, because any decent standardized test is going to be reasonably taxing to your mental abilities, right? Even if you do all the questions, they put a time limit on it just to make sure that you are stressed out and freaked out. It's clever how they do that. So perhaps, and this is an idea that Claude Steele had, but also I think you could attribute it to Schmader and Johns, who did this research we're about to review on it. Perhaps it's the case that stereotype activation makes for diverted attention, keeping a part of your mind busy, worrying about or thinking about the stereotype that's been made active and low expectations associated with it. So you are reminded, oh yeah, I'm a woman, I'm taking a math test, everybody says we're bad at this, I guess I'm supposed to perform badly, and you might not endorse that thought, you might still have self-confidence in the face of it, and so on, but at the same time, it is distracting, and you're having to try to hold that at bay while you do there's nothing wrong with the technical stuff, everything's fine. Okay, all right, so Schmader and Johns went to go test this idea, and in 2003, and this is the way they tested this idea, trying to see if stereotype activation would reduce working memory capacity. So obviously, the first step, what would you do if you're going to manipulate the independent variable, which is stereotypes being salient? That's what they did. They activated a stereotype. They presented subjects with a test that was either presented as a working memory capacity test, which I think it was, or they presented it as a quantitative test that women had scored poorly on in the past. So activating a salient negative stereotype that women perform poorly on this test. Okay? And past stereotype threat research has showed that generally women will perform worse on a math test if they're reminded women perform poorly on math tests. But in this case, we're using a working memory capacity test. It's more of a test. Well, here's how the test works. The test had people memorize a series of words, then do math problems, and then list those memorized words. So the test is all about, can you hold a bunch of words in your head while you work on some other task and then report those words as accurately as possible at the end. Does this test make sense? Okay. And so they studied people's ability to perform well on this test. And as you would expect, or as they predicted, female participants did score worse on this working memory capacity test when it was presented as a quantitative test that women are bad at. But normally, women actually did a little bit better than men on this test because they're really smart. Okay, so... Oh no, what's happened? Oh, maybe. Yes, I am. Oh yeah? Oh shit. Wow, thanks. All right. Cool. Yeah.
Well, Professor Willer, after a long and tedious process of going through more than 100 nominations for 2009, Golden Apple, you can take a bite after me. Just want to congratulate you. The Golden Apple is the only student-conferred award on this campus, nominated by students, given by students, organized by students. And Noah Stern and I, my name is Sammy Adderbeck, we emailed. All I knew was that he was a finalist, but that's why we want to make sure of the blush effect. Anyway, we're thrilled to give you the 2009 award, and assuming you're willing to accept it, which you already did, you will be speaking to a crowd at least this full, hopefully, with all these people present on April 29th at 7 p.m., where you will be delivering the first Golden Apple initiative, where you'll be challenging the students to do something better for this campus, for this community, because they entrust you to do so. Nominations praised your ability to inspire, to show care, and really honored to give it to such a young and energetic guy like you. And handsome. Okay, so congratulations. That's the most nominations. What a pleasure to look at. Anyway, before I go, sorry to interrupt, and give them up one more time for the 2009 Golden Apple Award. Rob Willer. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Wow, thanks a lot. Thanks, Sammy. It's the last thing I expected to happen. I thought it was one of those prank things, the thing where they come by and prank you in your class. Man, that's amazing. Thanks a lot. That's it's totally flattering, and I'll do my best to live up to it. Trying to give a great lecture for you. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I don't know if any of you had anything to do with this, but that's totally flattering and surprising. Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, thanks a lot. What? Whew. Man, I'm completely embarrassed now. Okay. I'm speechless for the first time in my teaching career. Man, that's totally flattering. So they had convinced me that that I was nominated and that they were going to come by for like some in-depth grilling interview. Made this especially surprising. So thanks a lot for listening to me teaching this. I appreciate it. It takes two to tango. So okay, back to the relentless negative effects of stereotypes and stigmas in society and everyday interaction. Okay, all right. So I was wondering what was going on with the technical stuff. That was very clever. I was like, there's something wrong technically. Okay, so they changed the lighting, so we'll move the lighting back if that's okay. Unless for some reason we'll move the lighting back. Great. Okay, back to social psychology. So the results of that study, I'm totally embarrassed. The results of the study were that female participants scored worse on the working memory capacity test, but then normally, if a negative stereotype about women's performance in math and science domains was not made salient, the women would actually score higher, and then the dude walked in, and I got flustered. So then they conducted a follow-up study, because they want to say, this isn't just about gender, this isn't just about women in math and science domains, it's general, to any domain where a negative stigma or stereotype could be made salient in that domain and then impede performance. So what they did was they replicated the study using white and Latino participants, this is the University of Arizona, and they, in one condition, they just gave participants a test. And in another, well, the same test, the working memory capacity test. In another condition, they told participants the test was diagnostic of intelligence and would be used to assess different groups of people. So it's kind of very vague, sort of subtle suggestion that somehow this test is going to be used to assess, like, how smart are Latinos versus whites and whatnot. And so it's very, very subtle. Oh, and they're also asked to report their ethnicity. So they have to report their ethnicity, reminded of their ethnicity, and then they're told, we're going to use this test to, like, find out, how smart different groups are. So kind of, whether the whites or the Latinos are going to score higher. This is very subtle, right? This is very subtle. It's not saying Latinos score worse on this test. It's just saying, what's your ethnicity? And then we're going to try and assess, your group, whatever group that is, against these other groups. So the results, as you might guess, because that is a stigma, or that does feel like a subtle activation of a stigma, is that Latinos scored worse on the test when it was presented as diagnostic of intelligence, asked to report their ethnicity, and told it'll be used to discriminate between groups. Though normally Latinos did a little bit better than whites did on the test, again, because they're really smart people. So Latinos reported more anxiety and perceived the test as harder in the threatened condition. So when Latinos were told, like, when the pressure was put on them, they were like, well, I'm feeling the anxiety you're trying to create, and this feels like a harder test. And of course, the test was a test of working memory capacity, and they performed worse on it. So all of this is kind of giving us this sense of what's the mechanism, what's the underlying mechanism that drives these effects. And what it seems to be in this research is that this working memory capacity, but it's also, you get this cluster of emotional reactions too, that they're feeling anxious, they perceive the test as harder, they're distracted, trying to keep these stereotypic thoughts at bay, which is reducing their working memory capacity, which is the kind of thing that would be very useful to have on a test of this sort. And then finally, they conducted a final study, Schmader and Johns, 2003 did, and in this final study they showed that the effect of stereotype threat, of making salient some stigma and its negative effects on your subsequent performance, that it's statistically mediated by reduced working memory capacity. Now what the heck is Rob talking about? Statistically mediated. I haven't warned you about this term, I don't think. What I talk about mediation? Not really. Okay, so mediation, when a variable mediates some relationship between other variables, it means that it is an intervening variable which drives the effect. So when I say that working memory capacity mediates the effect of stereotype threat on test performance, what I'm saying is stereotype threat effects on test performance operate through working memory capacity. It is the intervening variable. In other words, there isn't a direct effect of stereotype threat salience on performing poorly on test. The effect is stereotype threat is salient, it's distracting, reduces your working memory capacity, and then your reduced working memory capacity reduces your performance on a test. Does this make sense? And this is a powerful concept, right? Because we often think when we've identified a mediator that we sort of explain something, right? Like we already knew from a lot of research that stereotype threat effects stereotype threat reduces test performance. So when a stigma is made salient in some domain, you perform worse in that domain. But we now sort of feel like it's been explained, right? Like that we know the variable that's driving that effect, and that is in this research working memory capacity. Other research suggests other intervening variables, and so this probably isn't the only reason why the salience of a negative stereotype in some domain will reduce your performance in that domain, but it is one explanation and supported by good research. Questions about this? Okay, really, no questions. All right. Okay, so some larger conclusions based on the stereotype lecture. So stereotypes can have many negative effects. More unfairly negative views and treatment of others. Stereotypes can lead to that. Also, can lead to unfairly positive views. You may make positive stereotypic assumptions about people that don't apply to them, that they don't deserve. Also, stereotypes, when active, can impede individual achievement. So it's the case, this is the stereotype threat component of the lecture, it's the case that stereotype threat can affect your social perceptions, your perceptions of other people, their perceptions of you, but they can even affect the way in which you perform, even when no one's really around. You know, when you're in a testing situation and you're pretty much dialed in, just you and your test, stereotypes, which we think of as a social phenomenon, can still invade and have negative effects in this domain. We also found that intergroup contact can reduce stereotyping. Yeah, which we found an example in the police officer's dilemma, and lots of research has supported this since it was first proposed in 1954 by Gordon Allport in his book The Nature of Prejudice. Intergroup contact, interacting with other groups of people for which you have some kind of stereotypic association, can undermine those stereotypes. Why? Because you develop a more nuanced and complex view of the members of that group. Yes, sir. The research suggests that intergroup contact reduces all stereotyping, both automatic and conscious, because you don't rely so much on simple generalizations, you have more nuanced information. But it doesn't destroy them either. We definitely have not found any interventions that lead you to stop using mental shortcuts in your everyday social perception. Right. No, I remember the question. The issue you brought up in the last lecture, right? Yeah, but remember that when they actually wanted to directly test the effect of intergroup contact, they did find support for it. We just kind of are having a hard time reconciling with this other study that shows that African Americans as well as whites exhibit the police officer's dilemma effect. It's still the case that there's an abundant amount of research supporting the intergroup contact hypothesis, as they call it. And remember also that Gordon Allport has a dirt fetish, so that's another reason to take all of what he said seriously. Another big finding from stereotype research is that even groups victimized by negative stereotypes often carry the benefits as well, the beliefs as well. The benefits, they don't carry the benefits, they carry the beliefs as well. And this would be supported by the Kenneth and Mamie Clark doll experiments, right? Or the replication in that YouTube film, A Girl Like Me, which I hope you all take some time to check out because it's truly an amazing film. This one replicated the Clark doll experiments a few years ago and essentially found the same findings that Clarks did 50 years ago. And so this is one of the most, this is something that brought up in the status lecture about how status beliefs are endorsed or carried by both the advantaged and disadvantaged people affected by them or that are described by status beliefs, but it's also the case for stereotypes. Stereotypes are essentially more complex status beliefs, nuanced, or not insufficiently nuanced, but relatively complex generalizations you make about groups of people. And this is one last point I want to underscore is that remember the stereotypes are different from status. In that status is pretty much all about assumptions you make about the competence of groups of people, whereas stereotypes are about more characteristics than just that. Okay. So we're going to take a break here for a couple minutes, and I can try to get my composure back. But I wanted to present the assignment that's due next week. And this assignment is an unusual assignment, possibly the most unusual assignment you have ever done in school. And that's saying a lot considering you just did the reaching assignment like a month ago. But this assignment is totally unusual, and I hesitated to even assign it. Every semester kind of size up the class and sort of say, all right, can we do this assignment? And this is an assignment that's brought up in the Timothy Wilson book when he's talking about Jamie Pennebaker's research on the effects of introspection on mental health outcomes. And one of the things that they find there is that directed introspection about certain kinds of issues, can have some positive mental health outcomes. And we're going to review those when we get to that part of the class. The immune neglect lecture is going to talk about this essay assignment and what its purpose is and what sort of effects you can expect to find from it. But in order to give you a sort of up-close, personal, in-depth view of how introspection and mental health outcomes are related, I'm going to have you actually do the assignment, which has been studied a great deal in past research. Because it's introspective and very personal assignment, there's an alternate assignment which you can opt for, which is I think equally easy, or it's about the same difficulty. You're free to do that instead. So this assignment is both easy and hard. It's easy in the sense that you just have to write 2 single-spaced pages, and then you turn it in, and we tear off the cover page and grade just what you turned it in. If you turn it in, you get full credit. If you don't, then you get less than full credit. You get no credit. That's right. There's no degrees of credit on this. We just want you to do it and take it seriously. That's all we ask. We also promise that someone will read what you write. They won't know who you are, but they'll read what you write. So whatever you write will go read by some other human being, which may or may not be important to you, but they won't know who you are. So you can feel